Ladies and gentlemen, Carol Todd.
Thank you. I'm not quite, I wish I had a clicker. I usually don't do PowerPoints. I just usually come up here and speak. But I felt that with you guys as an audience, I needed to have something a little bit more visual. Now, the little bit more visual might induce some tears from me, or maybe you, but that's okay, because when I go and I speak, I have to share. The first thing is that if I cry, that's okay, because this is so very emotional to me. I don't know if it'll ever go away, that emotion, right? It's been a year and 4 months, and speaking to you guys out there brings me it's a healing process for me, but it's also really hard. It's really hard to talk about my daughter all the time. The other thing I don't know if all of you know is that I'm also an educator, so speaking in front of professionals, teachers, counselors, administrators, it makes me a little nervous. I'm used to being on your side, watching and listening, writing notes, taking home pamphlets and brochures. I'm not used to being up here, and I don't know if that's something I'll ever become comfortable with. I do it for my own job. I've been a teacher for 30 years. I live in Vancouver, work for the Coquitlam School District. I'm a coordinator for assistive technologies, and I've been a special needs teacher, and I help implement technologies for kids with learning disabilities and with special needs. And so I'm quite aware of how technology has evolved in different ways in the last 10 years since it has come. So my show and tell for you right now is my BC Teachers Federation, our union, came up with a magazine for January, February, all about mental health. And it has a listing of all the different types of mental health, and it's really a good reading. And it's online. You can find it at bctf.ca, and you can download the PDF. But it was a big step, I felt, for a teachers union to step up and write about mental health in an otherwise topic that no one really wants to talk about. We talk about bullying, we talk about cyberbullying, we talk about social media. We forget to talk about mental health because it has so much negative connotations. What if, we talk about it and it causes someone to commit suicide, or what if we can't find the resources, and what about the family, and it just goes on and on. The other thing is, of all the telecommunications carriers out there, I found one that is providing some good resourcing to parents and for kids, and of course as parents, educators can also use it, and that is with TELUS, and I believe Ontario also has TELUS, and there is pamphlets, resource guides for kids and adults, and also one that says a digital world for teens and tweens, which I thought was really good because, as we know, with social media, our teens and tweens and even our parents need to learn more about it. So that was my public service announcement. My daughter Amanda, what can I say? She was a vibrant, bubbly child. I miss her dearly. If I could turn back time, I wish that I could turn back time. I wish that I could have told her more. As a parent, I told her as much as I could tell her. I told her to be safe. I told her about internet safety. I told her about peer relationships. She was a vibrant child. She was just quaking from birth. She was the kind of kid that at 18 months I would go into her room and I'd find her hanging upside down on the bunk bed, on the railings. I'd find her at 2 years old standing on top of the stove with her bare feet. She had pushed a chair to the stove, getting the cookies that were in the cupboard above the stove. So when all those things happened, I did know that I was going to be in for many years of watching, of hoping that she would end up safely into adulthood. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Things happened along the way. And I have to say, you know what, there's family things going on. education things going on. Amanda was diagnosed with a learning disability because I had the background as an educator. I knew that something wasn't quite right when she was 3 or 4 with her language skills, and so I kept her at home for an extra year because she had one of those late November birthdays. I'm glad I did. It helped her blossom and mature, ripen, as I say. And then when she went to school, she got diagnosed with a learning disability. And then came the attention deficit. Then came the oppositional defiance. Then came the problems with peer relationships. Then came teenagehood, which started at about 11, 12, right? In her tweens, she and I were grappling with each other. We were arguing. It wasn't the best. However, when people say, you know, you could have done more, Carol, well, I think I did all that I could as a parent, as an educator. And another thing that people probably don't know out there is that Amanda did have a brother. And after Amanda died on October 10th, we kept it really quiet so that even now people come up to me and say, I'm sorry for your loss, she was your only child. And no, she wasn't my only child. Her brother is turning 21 next week. And I wanted to make sure that life remained private for him, because as people are unique and different, my son and my daughter were polar opposites. And so where she liked to be out there and she cheerleaded and she sang and she danced, and he liked to be, he did his quiet things. And he doesn't like to be noticed, so I like to keep him underneath the radar. I have been able to follow things that are going on in different countries around the world, and I must say that, you know what, I'm really proud to be a Canadian. I am so proud that our provinces and our country and our governments are being proactive in making sure that we are more educated and that we're promoting awareness on bullying and cyberbullying and social media and mental health. We have a long ways to go, but at least we've started that conversation. And we're starting that conversation as a unified group. I don't know if everybody is all on the same page yet, but let's say that before I walked into this room, you guys, as 300 individuals, only saw me on TV. And now you guys, I hope, will walk away with another message after I continue to babble on for 25 more minutes. This was Amanda's words on her YouTube video, which I'm hoping that all of you have seen. I can't believe that, you know what, it's been viewed almost 29 million times in the world. Now when you look at, she was a young girl, she committed suicide. And in Canadian standards, we don't publicize, we don't talk about youth suicides. However, because she made this YouTube video and she posted it, it went viral. It went viral the night that she died. For some reason, I went to bed on October 10th and it was something like 800 views. I woke up the next morning, it was 10,000 views, and the next day it was 500,000. It just started to steamroll. And if you look and see now, and you add up all the different views on the different postings and repostings, it's gone up to 29 million. That's 29 million watches on my baby girl. It just awes me that her message is out there. And that's what I feel it is. It's a message. Her video is a learning tool. And it's a learning tool because she had so many pieces to her short life. She was exploited online. We don't know who it is that did it. He still hasn't been found. The RCMP tell me that they are still investigating it. They still have all their devices. It's been 1 year and 4 months, but you have to backtrack because I reported all this starting in December of 2010. And now we're in February of 2014. I hope that one day that person comes to the forefront so I know who it is. However, I'm not a person who is not a vindictive person. I'm a forgiving person. And so as long as that person understands what he did and what he started, and that he was wrong, and that he isn't doing it to other children. And so I believe in restorative justice if it's done the right way. I can't even think about how anyone could do the whole chat line predator thing. And it even scares me worse, because when I got that link of Amanda's photo out on the internet, and I saw her picture, but I saw other pictures of other young girls, 12, 13, 14, in different states of dress and undress. It's probably a site I wasn't supposed to be on, but if someone came knocking at my door to arrest me, I had a really good argument for them that I was searching for photos of my daughter. But it gave me a whole insight onto that dark world out there. That dark world that could be dangerous, that is dangerous. That dark world that kids are so unknowing of what they do. It's just one picture. There's no one at the other end, or it's a 15-year-old boy at the other end, Mom. That's okay. We have to protect our kids, and we have to share with them exactly what to do to be safe and not to be safe. We can't take social media, we can't take the internet away, but we can teach them about the things that might happen. Not to scare them, because you know what, we talk to them about stranger danger when our kids are little, and before they go outside to play, we give them all the warnings. We tell them not to talk to strangers, not to accept candy, don't get into anyone's car. We tell them when they're teenagers, don't leave your drink out there. We need to tell them about what's out there also behind that screen. On the same token, we have to share with our kids what to say and what not to say when they're on their phones and social media. Those little smartphones that they have are their computers. Kids don't really use their computers anymore, except if they're going to type out an assignment and hand it in. What they're using their phones in their bedrooms, and they're enclosing themselves up and having a conversation with the world. I just had some conversations, I have them every day actually, online, or I have them in real life, with people. And we talk about how face-to-face communication it's fading out, and it's just, the kids don't understand that it's so important to speak eyeball to eyeball with someone, and to make those interactions, to understand what a frown is, to understand what a smile, a happy thought is. Too much time when they're spent on their own, the kids go from their happy place and it's a dark place right there. And I can speak from experience for this, because in the 1 year and 5 months that Amanda's died, I've been going through my own therapy. And I never thought that I would be so happy to see my own therapist every week. But he grounds me, and he tells me that I'm doing okay, and that I need to be doing what I'm doing, because doing this makes me progress and makes me stronger, believe it or not, even though I'll go home tonight and I'll just kind of wash out, because it's kind of emotionally draining for me. But it's so important for kids to be able to share their emotions and share their thoughts, and if they're having unhappy thoughts, it resides in the back of their brain, and your happy place is in the front. And so by doing some talk therapy and stuff, you have to push those unhappy thoughts into the happy part of your brain. And I say, you do it by stories, you do it by happy memories, you do it by laughter, you do it by photos. And kids with teenagers, it's all about imaging right now. They take selfies of themselves. We take selfies maybe of our breakfast, and we post it. But all those pictures that we take on family vacations, think about what you do with them now. How many people actually, like in my generation, we brought the canister, right? We took it to the drugstore, and we had our photos printed out. We picked them up, and then they were laid out, we put them in photo albums, or another generation, we scrapbooked, right? All those stickers and all this. Do we do that now? keep all our photos in our phones or in our computers? And do we put them on a DVD, never to be seen again? Those photos are allegedly our happy memories. They need to be printed out, they need to be shared, they need to be strewn out. Our kids need to see them because they need to know our history. So when they're in that sad place, they can look at the photo and say, oh, I remember that. And then you have a giggle, and then the happy place is brought back. That is so important, and that's a piece that we forget. Most of us, as educators, we're so compassionate about our students. There was one instance where Amanda actually texted me, and she was so upset because she had this teacher. And this is Amanda telling me, and I haven't talked to the teacher. And Amanda it was a pop quiz. And she had a major learning disability. She had a language-based learning disability that disengaged her from the comprehension of learning facts, and she couldn't remember details, and so she's studying Shakespeare. Well, Shakespeare is a whole different language to start with, right? And so she really had troubles grasping that whole concept, and I was picking up the Cole's notes and trying to find the video online so that she could listen to it and she could view it, and so she could understand it better. But this teacher decided to do pop quizzes. Well, if you have a kid with a learning disability, we adapt. We adapt, whether it's multiple choice, whether it's, we don't make them do the normative test if we know they can't handle it. And so she had to take the quiz, many quizzes actually. And she'd end up with 2 out of 15, 3 out of 15. And so then the teacher said to her, well, to the class actually, I'm going to say your name, you call out your mark, and if you can't call out your mark, if you don't want to call out your mark, you come up to me after and you whisper it in my ear. Well, Amanda told me that why would I bother whispering it in his ear, because the class would know I failed anyways. So then she said she got 2 out of 15. Well, we know that peers aren't necessarily the nicest. They aren't accepting. And so she heard the grumblings behind her, right? Oh, she's stupid. Oh, she's dumb. Oh, look at her. What's she doing in this class? And so everything that she had, the confidence, kept going down. I wasn't there to support her. She was in another school district than mine. She had spent the majority of her school life in my school district that I taught at. And so I was able to, because of my technology background, I was able to find her things that would accommodate her learning. But in a brand new school, and I believe it was job action year in BC also, I couldn't get a meeting with the school, with the teachers either. And so all those things compiled. You read this letter. This is from my daughter to me. And I found this again in my computer just a couple weeks ago, and nope, that's not it. That showed me how important family relationships are. How important just being there for your kid is. And how she was able to overcome whatever adversities she had in her life, just to be there. And so this was a year and a month before she died. And it was about 5 months before she moved back in with me. I had seen this, but I didn't find it again until a couple weeks ago. Why a snowflake? I called her Princess Snowflake. Not because it only was in the last year of her life that came up. princess because she was a true princess and that she wanted things. She wanted, she wanted her new boots, she wanted makeup, she wanted it now. And I said, no, you can't. You're not a princess, right? So that name's, and then Snowflake, for whatever reason, fell into my brain. It stuck. And then when, one day when Amanda called me and I answered it with just a hello, Amanda, and she said, why aren't you answering it with Princess Snowflake? And I said, well, I didn't think you really liked it. And she goes, I love it. Please call me that. So I did. Ironically, after she passed away and I had to write her eulogy, I looked up snowflake in the Urban Dictionary. And the Urban Dictionary talks about a snowflake as a young girl with unique qualities. And that fit, because my daughter had unique qualities. She sang, she danced, she cheered, she played ice hockey, she played soccer, all the things that people, after she died, and we call them the haters, and I totally understand where these kids come from when they talk about haters. These people who said, well, that those parents should have raised her better, they should have watched her, they should have taken her internet away, they should have done this, they should have done that. But you know what? My daughter had activities, she had a family, and that's why when I go and I share the message, what happened to my family and Amanda could happen to anybody. It could happen to any child. It may not be your child, it could be a friend of your child's, and that's why we need to continue to learn. We need to learn so that we can help and support if those situations ever came about in our kitchen, in our school, anywhere. I don't want it to happen. I hope that there are things that we learn in life that we never ever use. I take first aid and CPR in hopes that one day it can save a life. But I know that 5 years can go and I may never use my first aid. And so it's not that we're going to learn something that's totally useless to us, but it might be beneficial. So then when I looked up snowflake on the internet, I found that when you look at, this was actually a picture, someone took that photo in Austria of that snowflake. And all snowflakes are unique. They're all individual. And they're all fragile. And aren't people like that? Aren't we all unique and fragile? And we should be taken care of? Because we can be broken down and we could melt because of things that happen in our environment. And so subsequently, when I think of, I can see down here, Amanda's legacy, I've incorporated the snowflake. Incorporated the snowflake because it's so important for me to tell that message that everyone should be taken care of because we are all unique and fragile. And we can easily disappear. But without support, but with support, we can become stronger. So a snowflake, many snowflakes make snowballs. And many snowballs, as they get bigger, get stronger. And the strength gives us our voice to make sure that we can make a change somewhere. And so I have another, it's Pink Shirt Day tomorrow and I'm traveling back to Vancouver, so I won't be able to be in my schools to wear my pink shirt. But the shirt I'm wearing is black this year. This last year, the shirt was pink with black, and it says, "Love is louder than bullying 24/7." And SD43 is my school district in Coquitlam. And our motto this year is "Black is the new pink." Because it's true though, sometimes pink doesn't go with the rest of your outfit. But black goes with your outfit. And so subsequently, we have rolled out, our district has rolled out all these shirts, and then the money will go to Kids Sport to promote some sports with kids in our area. So it's all for a good cause. So I'm very proudly wearing my school district's clothes. With Amanda's snowflake, the pink on the edges is for Canada, because we have Pink Shirt Day and anti-bullying, which we've adopted the color pink. In the United States, so happens that blue is their anti-bullying color, so I incorporated the blue in the middle. And then when the pink and the blue blend together, we have purple. And purple was one of Amanda's favorite colors. And it also happens to be the favorite color of a lot of young girls that have lost their lives to suicide in the last 2 years. And so that's the reason why we chose that color. 2 documentaries have been made recently. One was The Fifth Estate. It's called The Sextortion of Amanda Todd. The second one was on CTV on W5 just a couple weekends ago, called The Predator's Playground. Really hard things for me to watch because to have my daughter profiled on a national documentary. However, when I look back, they're great learning tools. And if it's a learning tool that you can share with students in bits and pieces to show them, I am 100% behind us educating our kids, because our kids, our generation right now, they're visual learners. They don't like to hear it. They want to see it. And sometimes they don't even want to hear it from us as older people. Maybe there's some younger people here, my age. They want to hear it from other youth. And so getting our youth involved is a very, very important piece of the education and awareness. Youth mental health, definitely we need to continue to promote it. Ironically, Amanda died on October 10th, which is World Mental Health Day. And it's been World Mental Health Day for the last 28 years. And last October 10th, we lit up as much of the world as we could in purple in support of World Mental Health. And next year will be the 2nd annual Amanda Todd Legacy Supports Light Up Purple. It's not only about lighting up purple, it's about wearing purple, it's about making a stance in saying that we care about mental health. And so we had places like the Los Angeles airport, and we had Niagara Falls, and we had the CN Tower, and I had Rogers Arena and BC Place all lit up in purple, and there was Ottawa lit up in purple also. And that's only a few of the places. But I'm hoping that next year we can make it even broader in schools and universities, and then pictures get taken and we share them across the world, that it's so important to stand up for mental health because it's a forgotten, stigmatized entity. And we should all do that. And I think, I don't know if that's what I have a video, a 3-minute video that I'm going to show you.
This song is dedicated to Amanda Todd. The bullying needs to stop now.
I don't wanna get out of bed. Let me hurt alone instead. Officially out of my head. That's what you're doing here. I'm just another game that you play, with every hurtful thing that you say. But I really can't do it today. Yeah, that's what you're doing here. I wish I was made of steel, so all your bullets would bounce off, 'cause all these scars should get lost. I'd rather dream like I'm flying through space in my invisible plane, instead of hurting this way. I'd rather dream I was some kind of hero and had the power to make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman. Wasn't hurt more than you love, now I wish I could make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman. I'd really like to make you see exactly what you're doing to me. Do you really wanna make me bleed? That's what you're doing here. I'm not asking you to be my friend or expecting you to hold my hand, but why you gotta push me down? 'Cause that's what you're doing here. I wish I was made of steel, so all your bullets would bounce off, 'cause all these guns should get lost. I'd rather dream like I'm flying through space in my invisible plane, instead of hurting this way. I'd rather dream I was some kind of hero and had the power to make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman. Words hurt more than you love, now I wish I could make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman. If I was Wonder Woman, maybe you would listen, maybe you would hear me. If I was Wonder Woman, maybe I could stop this, so no one ever has to hurt again. Oh, I'd rather dream like I'm flying through space in my invisible plane, instead of hurting this way. I'd rather dream I was some kind of hero and had the power to make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman. Words hurt more than you love, now I wish I could make this stop. Just like Wonder Woman.
The trick is to listen to that song without the visuals, and you can hear the power of the words that tells you to build strength and to let the words come off you really easy. I could talk for I was in Winnipeg the other day, and I'm speaking here for 30 minutes, which is now turned into 40 minutes since your lunch. But that talk went on for 2 hours, and I surprised myself. I have so much more that I could share, because there's a whole learning component that I think is so very important to bring out. I have to say, every time I watch that, I cry. My daughter wanted to be famous, she said. Unfortunately, her notoriety came in death. But if we can use Amanda's story and her legacy to continue to promote education and awareness, to make sure that our kids are safe, to make sure that our generation of grandchildren are safe, then that's a good thing. Thank you for listening.